The first time in the last 3 presidential campaign cycles, Senator Bernie Sanders is not running for president. He was, of course, chief rival.
Yeah, here, for those of you saying like, oh, where's Bernie? Well, let's take a look at where Bernie is.
Clinton in the Democratic primary in 2016, also the strongest competitor against Joe Biden in the 2020 primary. In both races, Senator Sanders had a large and enthusiastic following and received millions of votes. He is not running this time. Instead, on the very same day that President Biden officially announced his re-election campaign, Bernie Sanders told the Associated Press that he's not running and endorsed Biden instead. And Senator Bernie Sanders, independent of Vermont, chairman of the Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions, joins me now. Senator, it's good to have you. It seems like it was a fairly straightforward and easy decision for you to endorse the president for re-election. Why?
I don't think one has many alternatives here. What's at stake is the future of American democracy. What's at stake is whether we have some right-wing demagogue running this country, or a pathological liar, or somebody who's trying to divide us up, or whether we re-elect somebody who is a very decent human being who's trying to do the opposite, trying to bring the American people together. Look, Chris, I think it is a surprise to nobody when I say that I disagree with Biden on many issues.
This is like fucked up. This is like cuck porn. You know what I mean? This is like sad to bring this man on. To just like be like, all right, Bernie, give us your take on why you're fucking just absolutely cucked. Makes me sad.
But on the other hand, I think he deserves credit for what he has accomplished. And our job now as a progressive movement is to rally the people of this country to make sure that the next 4 years complete some of the efforts that have begun in the first administration.
Literally 2020 deja vu. You said the same shit and I'm eating the same dish. Yeah, I mean, that's American politics, baby. That's it. It's funny how mainstream media attacks Bernie the same way Twitter chirpers and gray names attack you. Yeah, because where do you think the chirpers and gray names get their fucking spicy takes against any kind of like openly leftist person online from? They are just repeating the same shit that they heard from their daddies in the same way that in the same exact identical fucking way that like a racist groiper is like repeating everything that they have seen from their family. You know what I mean? That's it.
And that means we have to keep our eyes on the prize and understand that today tens and tens of millions of working people are struggling and are in pain in the richest country in the history of the world. So while on one hand, the fight has got to be to protect women's right to control their own bodies, and we just heard a moment ago some of the implications of what right-wing policy has done to women. We have got to fight to protect democracy. On the other hand, we cannot lose track of the fact that over 60% of the American people are living paycheck to paycheck. Over 500,000 people are homeless. People can't afford health care, can't afford prescription drugs, can't afford to go to college, in many cases working for starvation wages. So we need an agenda that speaks to working people, that brings them together to say, hey, what about a government that works for us and not just the billionaires?
The House, of course, just passed yesterday a debt ceiling budget bill. That's a little misleading because it doesn't actually get into the specifics. But a few of the things it does specifically are block the forgiveness of student loans that the executive has currently attempted and is tied up in court. It would also repeal parts of the Inflation Reduction Act, and it would cap spending and imply huge spending cuts for all kinds of programs. What do you think of that? What's the Senate think of that?
Well, I can't speak for the entire Senate, but I think it's an absurd proposal. It is a reactionary proposal, and it's something that we cannot accept. Look, the bottom line here is that we have to pass a clean debt ceiling bill. You know, we accumulate debt. You got to pay off your debt. I mean, this is what we did under Donald Trump. This is what Ronald Reagan talked about. When you got a debt, you got to pay it. And if you default on that debt, you're going to cause a massive recession or worse in this country and around the world. So you got to have a clean debt ceiling bill. That has got to be the bottom line. You can then argue about budget priorities. And in my view, when you have massive income and wealth inequality, when the people on top are doing phenomenally well, what you don't do is what the Republicans want to do is repeal the estate tax, $1.8 trillion in tax breaks, the top 1/10 of 1%, and then cut programs for working people and low-income people. That is grossly immoral, unacceptable, and not what the American people want.
The Inflation Reduction Act, there's an interesting drama playing out with a colleague of yours, Senator Joe Manchin. Now, I know you're a big supporter of the Inflation Reduction Act, particularly those clean energy credits. It's the largest climate bill we've ever passed, even if insufficient. But one of the things people didn't quite appreciate, and possibly your colleague Joe Manchin did not, is that the tax credits in the bill have no cap to them, which is to say the Congressional Budget Office estimated the total cost to them. But if they're more successful and more people use them, then the money spends, which means there could be a lot more investment in clean energy than the Congressional Budget Office projected. Personally, I think that's a good thing. Joe Manchin appears to be incredibly upset about this, and I wonder if you have a view whether it's good or bad that more clean energy might get built.
Chris, let us be as clear as we can be. You know, when we talk about climate change as an existential threat, those are just not idle words. This is what the scientific community is telling us. And if we don't get our act together and move to clean energy and transform our energy system away from fossil fuel, I really fear so much and worry so much about the kind of planet we're leaving to our kids and our grandchildren. And the problem is, this is not just an American.
Oh my God, I've been muted the entire fucking time. Oh, I'm so fucking tired. I'm tired, man. I'm fucking tired, man. Sick, and I'm fucking tired of all these motherfuckers having to see the top of the hour ad break, which comes at the top of every hour, man. Sick and tired of it. Now, of course, if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5, or you can do for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you get one free Prime subscription a month. Now, you can use that on your favorite streamer. Hopefully, that's me, right? Oh. Would it be possible to take a day off and enjoy Friday? No. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Woes Views, thank you for the 5. Get the subs. Rent Control, Ryan, Cult of Pizza, thank you for the 5. Get the subs. Alarm 15 people. Up 20 people. 25 people. Greenberg 22 813. Cinnabite Girl, thank you for the 5 gifted as well. From no longer seeing the ads at the top of the hour. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. I'm about to beat Yakuza 0, by the way. I have I think 2 chapters remaining. Do you guys ever do that? Do you look at not a walkthrough, but how many chapters are in a game to see where you're at? Or is that just a me thing? I do it all the time. It's so fucking... I'm always wondering where I'm at in the game. Offline gaming? Fuck off. Yeah, well, I don't care. I Yeah, I do offline gaming. Anyway, what I was saying is, that it was obvious that Biden was going to be the guy. He's the incumbent. Bernie, when he was younger, he actually did a decent job at trying to push Obama, who was even more popular than Biden, to the left. And he's not doing that this time. And who the fuck would run against Joe Brandon and put a death sentence on their political career in the Democratic Party right now, out of like the viable, leftist candidates, I guess. Jeremy Scale made this observation on his podcast. Biden is basically a non-entity. He's just a Democratic machine in power. Yeah. He's just a holdover guy for the deep state. Absolutely. Do you think Biden's got another 4 years in him, like physically? Maybe. Like, all jokes aside, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he it doesn't matter. He's like literally a corpse that they've propped up so far anyway. You know what I mean? He is quite literally a propped up corpse as it stands currently. Right? So it don't really matter. It's like if the GOP had people run against Trump in 2020. What is this? Bernie Sanders, an 81-year-old man with no clear shot at unseating an incumbent president in the priority primary. The fact that 8 years have passed since he announced his first run and no socialist alternative has emerged says more about U.S. socialists than it does about him. I agree with this assessment a lot, actually. Like, almost completely. I'm far from Bernie's biggest fan, but everybody pinning their hopes on a long shot bet for one guy to steer America towards socialism is a pretty big reason why America won't become socialist in any of our lifetimes. I mean, that's not the... No. I don't agree with this assessment. I think that it's more so representative of the reality for socialist movements rather than like what people are jumping to conclusion. Noam Chomsky. I'm personally hoping for a Buttigieg or Hakeem Jeffries run to really revitalize the party. I think they both have great fresh ideas and can take the country in a new direction. I want to kiss myself sometimes and practice self-love, okay? I want to keep myself safe when I read stuff like this. I know this person is joking, but like, But like, there are real people who believe that way, who agree with that sentiment, and they're gonna start chirping in here nonstop. And then the follow-up to it will always be, well, do you have a better alternative? And then I'll give them a better alternative. They'll be like, that guy's not electable. Or they'll be like, well, technically they're better than Joe Biden. That's my favorite one. And it's like, no, they're not better than Joe Biden. They are the same. They are Joe Biden. It doesn't really matter. There is not enough momentum. There's not enough labor momentum. There's no mechanism of pushback. There's no way to bully the Democratic Party into doing like what it's supposed to do because it's a controlled opposition party and it will remain so. And the entire reason why America continues to operate in the way that it does is because I don't fucking know. I don't even know what to say here. Man, I fucking hate doomer posts, especially when they're only in their 30s, but you are not allowed to just give up and use that excuse for doing nothing. We owe everyone younger than us that minimum effort. I agree with that. But I'm saying like the reason why the reason why things are not going to change internally is because there's not enough external mechanisms at play to push one of the two parties into springing into action. We don't have that. We do not have anything like that as it stands. Like, things do get a little bit better, slowly but surely. A lot of defeatists complaining, Hassan. I mean, when I talk about electoral politics, of course I'm always going to be fucking defeatist. What do you mean? People think that, like, oh, man, Bernie Sanders was going to, like, what? Fucking, people say, oh, it's time for a third party. That's ridiculous. People say, oh, well, why isn't Bernie Sanders doing anything? What the fuck's he supposed to do? He's like 800 years old. The system is too powerful. It's designed to be this way. It's designed to churn out these results. So whenever we talk about it, whenever we talk about it like this, whenever we talk about like the electoral prospects, like of course it's going to be sad.
Issue. You got to work with China, who are the major emitters of carbon. Guess what? You're going to have to work with Russia if we're going to save the planet.
Yep.
So, no, I do not regret the fact that we may be more successful in this country in transforming our energy system than we had previously believed. But we still have a long way to go. We got to lead this world. This ain't an easy issue, but there is no issue more important. And what really bothers me is you still have people out there who are terribly worried about the fossil fuel industry. Well, stop worrying about the fossil fuel industry. Worry about your kids and your grandchildren and the kind of planet that they're going to be living in.
It's not doomer to say you put your money into mutual aid and shit that matters and affects material conditions of Americans instead of supporting politicians like Bernie again. What? I do both. And also, what the fuck do you mean? No, Bernie is profoundly important for any kind of like left-wing momentum that has happened in this country over the course of the past fucking 8 to 10 years. Shut the fuck up, dumbass anarchists. Oh my God, you guys are so fucking annoying. Like, 90% of the fucking anarchitties that like are now engaging in that fucking mutual aid are doing it because they were like, wait, maybe I'm a socialist because this old guy on television said he's a socialist. I feel like I agree with him. Like, mutual aid is important, sure, but like, don't fucking undermine someone like Bernie Sanders who had national prominence and utilized it in the best way he possibly could.
Recently, you announced that you'd struck a bipartisan deal with Bill Cassidy, also, I believe, on your committee, on lowering prescription drug prices. This would be over and above some of the stuff that happened, then passed in law in the IRA. Given that you have a bipartisan deal here, is this going to get a Senate vote, and does it have a chance in the House?
I do believe it's going to get a Senate vote in one form or another. Yeah, it will get a Senate vote. And I think these are issues. Look, when you talk about prescription drugs, Chris, guess what? You know what older Republicans are concerned about terribly?
Yes.
Yeah, guess what? They can't afford prescription drugs. And my Republican colleagues understand that. So there is no excuse when the pharmaceutical industry makes tens of billions of dollars of profit every year that we continue to pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. Now, this bill, to be honest with you, is a good step forward. It is modest. We're going to go further. And we have, I believe, on May 10th, a hearing. We're going to be bringing into the committee the CEOs of the major drug companies in this country, actually worldwide.
Great.
And we are going to ask.
Y'all really going to give more money to Bernie? That's all I was talking about. Buy support, calm down. Yeah, I'll give him as much money as he wants. How about that? It's pretty laughable whenever like leftist communities try to talk about electoral politics because they immediately demonstrate their lack of knowledge in this regard. Like, for example, I hear a lot of supposedly liberal communities constantly criticize me because they say Hasan doesn't put his money where his mouth is. Like, look, he's only given to Bernie Sanders, what is it, like $2,800. He hasn't given more money. And I'm like, yeah, because that would be illegal, you fucking idiot. You just don't even know the laws, even though you are like, you're LARPing. You're LARPing as a person who understands politics but you don't understand it at all. Yes, I've given Bernie Sanders the legal limit. Okay? You fucking dumbass, right? And it's the same thing that happens over and over again. Whenever we like talk about electoral politics, I put on a different hat to cover these issues because, you know, plenty of people don't care about it. Plenty of people in this community think that it's like silly, it's marginal, it's nonsensical, it's dumb, it's a bourgeois democracy. So like obviously it's going to not really lead to any serious change. The system is designed to be that way, and it's true. That's precisely the reason why I talk about it. Just make a super PAC dumb. Oh my God, I'm gonna die. Okay. Oh. Bernie Sanders is not even running. This is a conversation he's having about not even running. I'm done. I'm skipping this video. I don't want to talk about this anymore, and I don't want to talk to chat about this anymore. None of you know anything, okay? Most of you don't know anything. I'm here to explain it to you. I'm here to educate you. But if you're gonna come across in this like, you're gonna argue with me in this contentious manner, at least know what you're talking about, please.